Ladies and gentlemen, in Kenya, it's better to lose an election united than to win an election divided. Our friends, the Kamba community, the Luo community, sometimes even Mount Kenya region, have always cast their votes in one basket, regardless whether they lose or they win. For instance, the Luos have always lost election for a very long time now. The Kambas equally for a good time they have been losing election. But at the end of the day, their vote is cast in one basket. And this is why they are always considered on the table during coalition agreement and even distribution of resources before elections are held. On the other side, the other communities like the Luya community have always divided their votes. And in regard, it's rarely you'll find them sidelines when it comes to distribution of coalition agreements. And that's why for the first time you hear Luya saying that this time round they are going to cast their votes in one basket because they are tired of being used. Equally to the Kisii community, they have always divided their votes to different candidates. And the effect of this is that you always find them sidelined when it comes to agreement of coalitions. But for the first time, the Kisii region is consolidating its votes behind one candidate, and that's Fred Okengo Matiangi. But it's so unfortunate that Raila Odinga, while yesterday in Kisii, dismissed the presidency of Fred Okengo Matiangi, who the Kisiis are fronting for presidency come 2027. And the reasons that Raila Odinga was giving is that Fred Okengo Matiangi cannot win presidency just based on the Kisii votes. And number two, Raila Odinga was saying that Fred Okengo Matiangi has not come out to publicly declare his interest to run for presidency. My question has been, before I go to my question, let's hear to what Raila Odinga had to say in Kisii yesterday.
The Kisii community is also producing a son for presidency, and some feel like they have supported your party for too long. Perhaps is your party going to reciprocate to Matiangi running for presidency?
You see, there's nothing like a community producing a candidate. Somebody who is running for the presidency, running for the presidency of Kenya. You see, you cannot be elected president of Kenya on the basis of the Kisii votes, Kisii, or the Luo votes, or the Luhya votes for that matter, or even the Mount Kenya votes. If you want to be elected, you'll be elected by Kenya generally. So that is something that we will deal with when the actual time comes up. Mr. Matiangi has not, as things stand, come up to speak, to declare that he wants to run for the president.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you've heard Raila Odinga dismissing the presidency candidature of Fred Okengo Matiangi. But the people of the Kisii region have been one of the greatest supporters of Raila Odinga. As much as the Kisii region has always divided their votes, majority of it has been going to Raila Odinga side. And even it's a Kisii region, we have ODM members of parliament, which is a party that belongs to Raila Odinga. And it was so unfortunate that Raila Odinga could dismiss the candidature of Fred Okengo Matiangi in a basis that Kisii don't have the numbers to produce a presidential candidate. Yes, of course, Kisii don't have that number, but why should Raila Odinga claim that Fred Okengo Matiangi cannot win on the basis of Kisii votes? Because Fred Okengo Matiangi can equally succeed to attract other communities to vote for him across the country. He is not only going to depend on the Kisii vote. That's the first reason. Number two, should the people of Kisii say that Fred Okengo Matiangi is running for presidency? We have had Senator Onyonga representing Fred Okengo Matiangi in various functions. And he even gave a reason that Fred Okengo Matiang'i is still in his process of resignation from his work before announcing his candidature. Why should Raila dismiss his candidature? This is because I think Raila feels that he is going to lose the Gusii voting bloc that has always supported his party and his candidature for a very long time. And I think it's the right decision for the Gusii people to, for the first time, cast their votes in one basket. Regardless, even if it means losing that election, it will always attract you to the table when people are discussing on the agreements of coalitions in future elections, because they will be considering that vote as a solid vote. And this is what the Gusii region, the Luhya community, have been lacking for a very long time. That's, ladies and gentlemen, that's the first story and that's the first analysis. I think it's time for the Gusii people to feel or to come out and strongly support one of their own. Should it be Fred Matiang'i, let them even support Honorable Justice, former Justice Maraga. Yesterday, Maraga equally showed his interest of running for presidency of the country. Should they agree that it's Maraga they are going to support, let them consolidate their vote and totally vote behind one of their own. This one will ensure that they are respected when coalitions are being discussed. When their vote is being discussed at the national level, it will be discussed as a solid vote, not as a swing-wing voting block. When you are considered as a swing-wing voting block, you'll never come to the table of discussion. But when your vote is known to be solid, like the campus, like the Luos, you'll always be called to come on the table during discussions. And this is what the people of Kisii are going to decide, or are in the process of deciding, that they ensure that that Kisii vote is a solid vote. Ladies and gentlemen, the number of Kisii votes is that by the election of 2022, they had about 800,000 votes that were cast. But remember that Kisiis are also well spread in the entire nation. If you go to the coastal region, you will find Kisiis. Nairobi Kisiis have been voting for Simba Arati when he was running for the Dagoretti MPs, and they have good numbers. Kisii are everywhere. In Embakasi, they are every part of the country. And the diaspora votes in the country is also almost up to 500,000. So Kisii votes can come or can rise up to 1.5 million votes if they have their own candidate running for presidency, all appointed a superior position in a coalition. They can raise their numbers because they'll be, number one, motivated to turn out to vote. Number two, they'll be voting for their own, and their numbers can rise, and they can in this way they can be considered in the national table of discussion. I think it was very unfair for Raila Odinga to dismiss the presidency of Fred Okengo Matiang'i, and it's time for the Gusii leaders to ask Raila Odinga to return back the hand to support the Kisii people. In any case, they are going to produce Fred Okengo Matiang'i, or they are going to produce Maraga to run for presidency, because there are two candidates from Kisii region who are now showing aspiration to run for presidency, and these candidates can not only attract the Kisii votes, they can attract the entire nation votes. Fred Matiang'i performed very well when he was a cabinet secretary. He attracts votes from the entire nation. He'll have people from different communities voting for him because of the basis of his performance come 2027, and in consideration of other candidates who will be running for presidency. Gen Zs have come out to say that Maraga is the best candidate to run for presidency. If the Kisii people decide that they're going to front David Kinani Maraga, then he's going to get a lot of Gen Z support. Gen Zs are force that was tested during the protest, and they have good numbers. And I think that if Kisii consolidate their votes well, then they are going to be on the table of discussion. Number one, I've always said that the 2027 general election can go to a second round, because round one can fail to get that 50+1. Then the Kisii people will come out to be the determinant factor through their candidate. Even if they lose that election, that they will be respected and they will be always called upon to help government through their members of parliament will be elected through their own parties, and this is the direction they should be taking, like the campus. Equally, what the Luhya community should be doing. Others, ladies and gentlemen, you can tell me what you think in the comment section. That's but only my opinion. I'll take my humble time to read and give you a response. Stay safe whenever you are.